For the last 25 years, I've been doing a lot of gardening, growing food and plants, whatever. I've noticed over the last 7 or 8 years, our growing season, our zones are getting warmer and warmer. I think now we might be in zone 6. I'm growing bougainvillea plants, which is a southern tropical plant, banana trees, and I've noticed a serious change in the growing environment. I've heard you say recently that you don't believe in any kind of climate change, that's created by man or whatever. You have questions about that? I'm just trying to get a handle. Can we get our Congress, our politicians to maybe come together and really start thinking about this climate change? It's really, to me, it's affecting my plants. So on my simple little, my garden, you can extrapolate that out to our crazy hurricane season, whatever else. But what do you guys want to do about the environment? I'll start with Marek first.
Okay, well, this is the 4th major environmental event that's happened in our country. We had, in the recent history, we had lead in our environment from leaded gasoline. Remember how much lead was in the oceans? We had acid rain polluting our lakes, dissolving our statues. We had the ozone layer disappearing and let dangerous UV radiation in there. And every single time, business and politicians and Congress said, well, we can't address this because it's too expensive. We can't take the lead on it. Other countries won't do anything. And now, what's happened? The lead's gone because we got rid of leaded gasoline. We have now unleaded. It's disappeared from our environment. Acid rain's gone away. And just a few weeks ago, the hundreds of scientists issued a report saying our ozone hole's closing. So aren't you glad we didn't listen and we actually tackled the problem? Now, greenhouse gas emissions, it's real, the science is real, it's easy to explain. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Regular light from the sun can pass between the carbon and oxygen on the way to the earth. It heats up, turns into infrared radiation, has longer wavelength, can't get back out between the molecules, gets trapped. 1 gallon of gasoline releases 14 pounds of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere when you burn it. So this is real. There's things we can do. And to me, when I look at addressing climate change, it's part of our bigger infrastructure problem. This is a solution that's bundled with our highway trust fund solution, where we can address the cost of fuel, and I'm going to run out of time, so I can't talk about how we're going to pay for this climate change fixes. But there are ways we can address this, and we should do it now before it gets to the point where we can. Thanks.
No, I appreciate the question. My opponent brought it before, how you can get these things online and read all kinds of things that people want to say about you. I have never been out there denying climate change. And it's obvious to so many, you can't deny facts. The question comes in is how we go about handling it. Again, different ways. I went to a bipartisan event at Harvard, and there was a conference on climate change, global warming, climate change, and they were talking about the levels of CO2 going up. The question was asked, and this may be what you read. The question was asked, how much of that is caused by man? And no one there, as experts, could say. So the question comes in, not that whether it exists or not, but what we do to go about it. There was a very good article in the Wall Street Journal recently talking about the computer models, the theoretical models of what we expect to happen in the future, and they all differ. They all have different ideas. So I think that if we do this, and as a doctor, this is what you do. You approach things sensibly, you look at your facts, and you make your decisions based on what you're seeing to be factual, and try to do things that make sense. In America, we have been the most responsible country in the world when it comes to environmental issues. And I think that we need to reach out further around the world and put pressure in other places so that they do the same.
The science of global warming. You said that at Harvard, nobody could tell you exactly how much man-made, man is causing this. And I think that's a misrepresentation. I think that the science shows that man is causing this. It started from the Industrial Revolution. You can see the carbon dioxide curve go up like that. But my question is why should the U.S. lead from behind on this? If we got rid of the subsidies for the oil companies and started really pushing solar, and we could have done this way long time ago, but Reagan took the solar panels off the White House. So why should we lead from behind? We're the world leader, and we can influence other countries, and I'm sure China doesn't want to be choking on their pollution.
I'm not so sure about China. They seem to be wanting to and not wanting to change anything and wanting us to do it for them. They want us to pay for it. So listen, we do lead the world in this. And you're right, the CO2 levels are going up. The question at Harvard was how much of that has been caused by man. I'm not saying none of it. We know that man causes that. You know, when we breathe out, carbon dioxide comes out. When we burn fossil fuels, yes, carbon dioxide is emitted. It was pointed out very well here. That's not in denial. It's how we go about handling this and how much are we willing to invest and are we doing it smartly and what we can actually predict compared to what we're putting into and spending. We do a good job in this country. We'd like other countries to do it as well.
So this goes back to what I said before. You know, we had acid rain, we had lead in the environment, we had the ozone layer. We could have used the exact same arguments as reasons not to address those. Aren't you glad we did address them? And now that I've talked about the Highway Trust Fund and how I'm reducing your gas tax and the extra $10 billion, I think both of those two factors can be used to address climate change. Because addressing climate change, you know, addressing coal-fired plants, making them pollute less, release less carbon dioxide, you know, that's going to be expensive. It's going to increase fuel costs. But if we're reducing our gasoline fuel costs, that's an offset. If the derivative trading tax creates $10 billion more, that's $10 billion more a year that businesses can use if we apply that to the infrastructure of making our factories clean, making our power plants clean. So I think both of the infrastructure and our environment are related. I kind of view them interchangeably. The environment is our infrastructure. We have to be able to drive our roads to work. We have to be able to breathe the air once we get there and drink the water too.